All right. Uh, so this is going to be a very short session, and this is around scopes in Fury. So in Fury, if you have a look at the slide, there are three scopes in Fury, and the diagram makes it very clear. We'll go bottom up. The first scope is cross client or configuration scope. You will notice many transactions will have the ending underscore conf or underscore cust. What that basically means is that shows if a transaction is baking changes into configuration scope or a customizing scope. Configuration scope is where if you make changes to the data, it reflects across the client. You should only make changes here if it's really required, because this scope holds the data which is provided by or holds the content which is delivered by SAP. So SAP standard should only be disturbed if there is really a need and really a case for it. Most and majority of your changes in terms of designing the content of Fury should happen in the customizing scope. So that brings up to the next scope, which is a client specific changes. Now this is where you can make changes for your client. You can copy a catalog from configuration scope to a customization scope, and then you can make the changes. For example, remove certain tiles and then use it in your roles. Whereas if you'll actually go in and remove certain tiles from the SAP delivered catalog, that is going to mean that the standard content delivered by SAP will be lost forever. You will not there will be no way to recover it. Whereas if you make any changes in customization scope, if you mess up, if you make any mistakes, there will always be a chance that you can go back and copy the original content from SAP and then start again. So this is why it's important that all the changes, be it related to catalogs, tiles, tile names, or target mappings, anything that should be done in customizing scope. And this is where most of the development around security and administration will be done. The next will be personalization scope or the user scope. So this is basically where a user can make changes to his or her own experience. For example, if you go to Fury homepage, a user has a choice to arrange the tiles the way he or she wants. The user can manage his or her homepage the way he or she wants. Of course, there's an option to actually disable this, but it's recommended to allow users to make changes to their own data, so that they can make the changes based on the way they use the system, rather than sticking to the custom to the standard which is developed by the developer, right? So in terms of visibility, any client specific changes will override configuration changes, and any customization changes will be overridden by user personalization. So what that basically means is, let's say you designed let's say SAP designed a space a certain way, which with 5 tiles A, B, C, D, and E. You, as a consultant, you copied that space into a Z namespace, Z something something, into a Z namespace, and then you decided to remove 2 tiles from that space, and now you are left with only three tiles, A, B and C. So if you take this space and assign this to a role, and then once that role is assigned to a user, and if the user logs in, the user will see those three tiles. Now let's say the user do not use all three tiles, the user only uses one tile. Then the user can actually go in and make changes to his home page and can remove the two tiles, and then the user will be left with just one tile in that space or in that page. Now this is just to give you an example of how this works. Now it's important to understand that any changes that the user makes is only at the user level. It does not affect um, any customizing changes. So if the user removes a few tiles, that doesn't mean it will be removed for the role, and it will not affect anyone else. The effect of this will be limited to the user, whereas any changes in customizing any client specific will be reflected across the clients, and any changes on the cross client scope will be reflected across the system. So this is what scope in Fiori are. It's not really something that you use a lot in your day-to-day basis, but it's something that you should understand, and you should know how this works.